How many of you grew up with this screen? A simple DVD logo bouncing from wall to wall. It'd stay on the screen for hours, looping mindlessly in preparation of someone finally pressing a remote's buttons, starting the screening of a beloved show or classic film. Sometimes you'd sit there for minutes or even hours, waiting for it to hit that edge perfectly, something it could so rarely, if at all, accomplish. Yet, when it did, it felt like completion. The end of its goal, the end of its race. That feeling of exhilaration and relief, watching it finally reach its goal. I wonder if anything else has ever truly replicated that. So if you've been on the internet recently, you've probably seen these goofy little things on your timeline. Random colored blobs bouncing inside randomly generated tunnels, ricocheting against unpredictable edges, unsure of where they're even meant to go. At least until they actually do reach their goal, the carrots placed right in the center of the map. That was the simple premise that would, within just 1 month, blow up with a massive fan base. Horse race test. What started as nothing more than bouncing blobs became something unexplainable. A bizarre tragic tale of lesbian horses, all competing not just for greatness, but for survival. Also, if my voice is weaker in this video, I had surgery like 2 days ago and I'm still recovering, so sorry. Before we begin, I'm gonna promo myself real quick, cause I am saving up for a car, yeah! Originally, this was because I hate my 2002 Chevy Tahoe, but now it's because my brother's 2002 Chevy Tahoe, the transmission exploded, so if you want to help me save up, you can either commission me or donate to my Ko-fi. Here are my prices if you're interested, but if you can't afford it, just spreading the word helps too. We need our cars to attend college and we go to different campuses, so being one car down is really stressful. The sooner we can get a new one, the better. If you want to commission me, add me on any of these platforms and I can get you waitlisted and ready to go eventually. With that out of the way though, let's finally delve into this tragic world of horse racing. It began simple for our little blobs. A Twitter account run by Blake Andrews posted footage of a self-made game, one displaying these colorful creatures. We had brown, white, yellow, and blue, all laid out on a green and white map made of simple shapes. Each blob aimed to bounce into the center where a stack of carrots lay. For about 2 minutes the blobs bounced, some colliding, others sabotaging. Blue had an early lead only to be pushed back into the first room. White and yellow bumped heads fighting to enter the third room, not noticing blue sneaking past. All four are now in one room, bouncing and scrambling before blue suddenly slips past them all and claims the carrots. Our first winner, blue. To keep track, we're going to use this simple chart. The videos do it already, but it's for me. It helps me keep track. This world became the premise of the horses. Blobs dropped into a map, all racing towards the center. Our second race begins now with new blobs. We meet 3 new contestants: orange, gray, and cyan. Similarly, this race lasts 2 minutes. Yellow takes an early lead while the blobs bicker, only to be bumped away by brown. Yellow jumps back in, almost as if to defend orange. Cyan pushes past them all, charging towards the center, before tragically missing the carrots by less than an inch. Yellow, nudged just moments earlier, swoops in just in time to steal the pile from Cyan. Our second winner, yellow. The video introduces a new twist at the end, a zoom in into the yellow blob, revealing a bright yellow horse. That's when we learn that these aren't blobs at all, they're horses. Our third race proceeds, featuring the same contestants. Cyan appears with a noticeable frown, still devastated by the earlier loss. Yellow, on the other hand, wears a proud grin, unapologetic for the victory claimed. Soon the race begins. Once again, orange charges far ahead of the competition, already reaching the 5th circle while the others continue fighting in the back. Gray and blue push forward, working together to stop orange, but orange shrugs off the interference, slipping past them and successfully claiming the carrots in the center. Our third winner, orange. Alright, let's take a quick look at our chart again. Blue, yellow, orange each hold 1 win. Brown, white, cyan, and gray still have none. Up until now, all the videos have simply been titled Race Test. However, this next one is titled Horse Race Test, abbreviated, that gives us HRT. Now I want to make a quick point. Many fans interpret this abbreviation as a subtle nod that the horses are all female because HRT, like the hormones, like trans women with HRT, get it? But according to the TV Tropes article on Horse Race Test, the genders of the horses are officially unspecified, left open to interpretation. I wasn't able to find that tweet, but I'm sure it exists. It's just that Blake's Twitter timeline is full of like a billion posts. Since I have full autonomy over this video, I will be referring to all of them as female. No, I will not be taking questions. Moving on. Race 4 begins on a map with new obstacles. Spheres are scattered throughout, causing even more unpredictable bounces for our horses. Blue isn't phased. She swerves around them with ease while others struggle through their first passage. Blue is already in the fifth. But suddenly, Blue finds herself trapped in a small chamber, frustratingly close to the carrots yet unable to reach them. White spots this weakness and races forward, trying to take the advantage. Still, Blue refuses to give up. She finally breaks free from the enclosure and launches herself at White. The two struggle, pushing and clashing, until Blue twists her momentum just right, using White's body to vault herself into the center. Blue claims her second victory. Before the next race, Blake posts a few photos showing the inspiration behind Horse Race Test. Among them are 3 games. Wimbrut Racing, a small game maker racing game where you race. It shares similarly simplistic and almost crude visuals with a basic map to race on. Slowly as you progress through the game, the visuals become more unstable, a motif we'll see again soon. Dreams for Your Computer is also shown, a game with pixelated, hard-to-read visuals, featuring the same bright colors our horses display. This game has yet to be released. GQG1 Stable is a Nintendo 64 game, which I 100% messed up the name for. It is a simple pixelated game where horses race and compete. 2 of these are obviously about racing, which may inspire the racing element, but there is one common trait that all 3 games share: pixel elements. We see this in HRT as well, and if you ask me, it's a deeper reflection of our horse races. In this context, the pixel art becomes a metaphor for instability. It's deliberately crude, unpredictable. The blockiness, the digital noise, it mirrors the chaos of the races. These bounces are random, and the horses have no say in where they'll be flung. Whether they feast or starve is determined by forces that they cannot control, and it reminds us that life itself isn't always fair, stable, or even comprehensible. Watching Cyan fly past the carrots so close to winning only to fail is messy and strangely poetic. But who cares? Let's get on to race 5, baby! Our map has been slightly simplified with some obstacles removed. The horses struggle to reach the first passage for nearly 2 minutes before Gray finally bounces through. Not long after, she claims the carrots before any other horses even made it into the 5th stage. Race number 5 goes to Gray. New tallies. White, Cyan, and Brown hold no wins. Gray, Yellow, and Orange each have 1, and Blue has 2. Race 6 begins with 2 new obstacles that are thicker than those before. However, these don't deter White from making a swift entrance through the passage. Yellow pushes through soon after, followed by Cyan, and the 3 battle for a while. White is shoved into a trap near the carrots before finally breaking free. Suddenly, Orange is in the lead, but White is determined to stop her. The 2 struggle around an obstacle for nearly 20 seconds before diving towards the carrots at the same time. And just barely, Orange takes them from White's grasp. Orange is shown in victory once more, and with it, she becomes the first horse to receive a name. From this point forward, horses will earn names as they claim victories. Orange will now be known as Jovial Merriment. Blue and Merriment are now tied at 2 wins. Our next race is different. A map with even more adversities, more challenges, more sudden edges, and most important of all, more of our horses have vanished. We're down to White, Brown, and Cyan, the 3 horses yet to win. Each of them has received a minor sprite update. White now has a small bump on her head, Brown's back is longer, and Cyan is more wobbly, for a lack of a better word. Brown bolts out first and rushes through the map. Cyan and White stick together, trying to help each other along, but Brown doesn't wait. She charges ahead past the final stage and claims her first victory. Brown wins the pile of carrots, and with it, her renaming. Doorknob. Tallies. Doorknob, Gray, and Yellow all have 1 win. Blue and Jovial Merriment have 2. Cyan and White have none. Also, should mention real quick, Blake was kind enough to hear that some people were struggling to differentiate some of the horses due to color blindness, so he edited them to be slightly darker and adjusted the sprite shapes to make them more distinguishable. Did he need to? No. Did he? Yes. And that's all I need to respect him. That's really nice of him, actually. The race is rerun by the same 3 horses, and also Doorknob grew a tail, so good for her. White darts out of the starting line first, hoping to finally get a victory. Cyan follows but struggles with the top right of the map, and keep this habit in mind because it's going to come back. Without warning, Brown once again rushes past the 2, swooping the carrots away like a thief in broad daylight. Now, Doorknob holds 2 victories. Whilst the race between the 3 was meant to give one of the common losers the chance to win, the next would be the opposite. All the horses who have won so far are now on a new track, this time all starting with 0 points. Each sprite has been changed to be totally unique now too. Mary has a slanted sort of back, Blue has big ass feet, Gray has a hunchback, Yellow has a flat head and that same fuck ass grin, and Doorknob still has her little tail. The race is an honest to God massacre, with Mary instantly taking the lead and snatching the pile in just 1 minute. Mary is now in the lead with a resounding 3 wins. The race is quickly run back, same contestants, same map. Blue rushes through the map, copying Mary's technique of pushing through, but soon like an Icarus, she flies too close and loses her head. Despite the fall, she regains her footing and hurries through once more, taking the carrots for herself. With her crown, she claims her name. Bulletin board. Not bulletin. Bulletin. So far in our All-Stars season, our champions have been Mary and Bullet. Our next race depicts some moments of intimate tension between Yellow and Orange, who constantly bump into each other before returning to the race. Knob gets devastatingly close to the pile before falling out of the area. The carrots are soon taken by none other than Mary again. Mary now has 4 wins total. The fans that have accumulated are all screaming, chanting, praising the clear winner. Orange won 2 races of the All-Star season, and now carries the most victories on her shoulders. But she's not the only one to grow a fan base. White and Cyan, the 2 have gone this far with no victory. They're starved and forgotten, but still they have each other. They can share the fact that even though they're both helpless and distraught, they're in that state together. And maybe by suffering together, they can find some peace in their stable. But soon, Blake tears them away from that stable, placing them on 1 track. No other horses can be seen. It's only Cyan and White. The 2 had grown close, clearly, but now that closeness means nothing once one of them claims the final prize. The 2 look at each other, clearly unable to process the situation. One of them would be the sole loser, and neither wanted to take on the responsibility of causing the other that kind of pain. And so, for a painstaking 7 minutes, the 2 bounce around the map, making no effort of their own to claim victory. They've clearly grown close, and the thought of hurting the other is, by itself, even more painful. As this race progresses, another is taking place on a racetrack far, far away. It features our 5 winners, Bullet, Mary, Gray, Yellow, and Knob, and 2 others, Pink and Red, placeholders for White and Cyan while they're stuck on the other track, presumably. Red has a sort of slicked back mane look, and Pink has a long nose. Yellow and Mary push forward together, with Yellow offering a supportive nudge for Mary to claim her 5th victory. Mary now holds 5 crowns, and her fans couldn't be happier. They are screaming and popping champagne right now. The following race is the same format, but with the carrots placed slightly further than before. Gray makes an early push, only to be chased down by Yellow, who attacks viciously. Gray fights back, pushing into the arena with the pile. She struggles for a while, mostly against herself, before a random string of luck hits and launches her towards the vegetables. Gray has finally earned her name. Downtown Skybox. Alright, point tally again, because we haven't done that in a while. Doorknob and Yellow still only have 1 win. Bullet and Skybox have 2. Mary, undeniably on top, is standing with 5 whole victories. Our next race takes place on a slightly altered map, one close to our earlier layouts but styled like the last 2. Red makes an early push, falling back at times but staying in the lead for the first minute and a half. However, a sudden charge from Mary into Red lets her leap edge to edge perfectly into the carrots. Red, only having completed 3 races total, has already claimed her name. Resolute Mind Afternoon. The noise of this race distracts us briefly, but the real battle is still being fought far, far away. White and Cyan continue bouncing on their track, dodging the center like it's sacred. It goes on for another minute and a half until finally, White falls into the center and takes the pile of carrots. Her name is revealed. Superstition Realism. Cyan now lies alone, the one horse with no crowns, no victories, and the only friend, to some people her lover, has gone on to become something more without her. We grow close to our loved ones, especially when we're connected by the path we travel. As people, we're constantly haunted by the idea of falling behind, the slow dread of not progressing fast enough. You watch the people around you get jobs, partners, success, meanwhile you're not. And when you have someone beside you also lagging behind, it can make the waiting feel less lonely. But what happens when that person, the one who made the waiting bearable, suddenly gets pulled away by success? It only carves the doubt deeper. You're not where you're supposed to be. Even someone that's behind you has moved forward now. Are you still worthy of running the track? Are you worth betting on? Can anyone rely on you to become something? For Cyan, it's most likely a hard no. Superstition did everything in her power to stay behind, to stay with Cyan and continue their relationship where neither were winners. But soon enough, she must have realized 2 losers isn't better than 1 winner. You can't stay back to support someone when your life is your own. It's not about sparing someone else's feelings. It's about choosing yourself. We all have one life, and there is no reason to put anyone else's feelings above your own. This isn't to say that Superstition doesn't care for Cyan. Rather, it shows that Superstition cares about herself too. Now, alongside the winners, Superstition lays in the middle of the new stable, ready to compete with the others. Yellow has a surprising push, almost claiming the carrots in the first 20 seconds of this new race before falling back suddenly. She continues to fight but never really recovers. Instead, Mary goes forward and claims her fucking 6th victory. 6th! But who's counting anyway? Next race is on a similar map with even more edges to potentially screw over some horses. Pink and Bullet push for a while and Knob comes in to put a stop to both of them. But the main thing to notice in this race is that Yellow is offering Mary some deeper motivation. It's become clear at this point that Mary and Yellow are girlfriends and unashamed of their love. Love is love, or whatever would be appropriate to say. It's almost Pride Month, guys. After going for, and get this, 2 separate rounds in the box with Yellow, Mary suddenly gains a lot of stamina and motivation, pushes past everyone, and wins again. That's 7 wins now for Mary. The fact that she spent The fact that she spent 2 minutes railing Yellow and still just won like it was no one's business, low-key good for her. In a way, I kind of think the reason for her victories lies in her relationship with Yellow. From early on, we've seen the pair help each other. Mostly Yellow pushing forward with Mary, and at times even pushing her into the carrots. When we have someone to support us, success becomes easier. I can attest to that. I wouldn't have kept up with YouTube as long as I have if my boyfriend wasn't constantly complimenting my videos and encouraging me to continue. Also, hi babe, I love you. Before the next race, something else occurs. Right after Mary's victory, a new race is shown. But there's no track. There are no obstacles. There's just the starting line, the carrots, and one racer. CYAN. CYAN spends a minute floating through the empty arena, slow and visibly depressed. By chance, she finally falls into the carrots and has technically achieved her first win. But when her name is revealed, it only reads CYAN. She didn't win. She didn't try. She didn't compete, so she didn't win. As stated somewhat poetically by this artisan in the comment section, beautifully named Tom Ass, pity carrots don't taste as good as the real ones. The next race is much more odd. Rather than our usual racers, there are 7 disfigured and crude creatures at the starting line. Some show eerie similarities to our horses, like the palest one having the same dent in its head as Superstition. The middle creature also has a massive snout just like Pink. We don't know for sure if these creatures are reflections of the horses we've come to love and cheer for, but we do at least get to see them race as usual. The whitest one reaches the carrots first, and the ending reveals this horrific version of a familiar racer. This one is simply named a mysterious figure. And side tangent, it plays this really uncomfortable music that genuinely made me shiver when I heard it for the first time, and I fucking hated it. The race after this appears to be a normal one at first, before becoming another centered around the beastly horses. The mysterious figure is not involved this time, but instead, a small CYAN blemish reaches the food first. This racer is displayed at the end as a glitched mess, with her name being Garbage Bin. The race that got cut off earlier now continues, and buckle your seatbelt because you're gonna love this. Mary wins again. Our tallies are now Superstition, Doorknob, Resolute, and Yellow all only have 1 win. Bullet and Skybox have 2. And Mary has 8. 8! We get to see the freaks battle once more, now rid of Garbage Bin, and the screen is wiggling now, growing a little more unstable, a little more uncanny even. In this race, the darkest horse reaches the carrots. This creature, with elongated, skinny hooves and a distorted head and mane, goes by the name Nighttime Knifemare. Not Nightmare, Knifemare. But this video doesn't end. Rather, it's only halfway complete. Now, in a new area, there are 2 competitors, White and the mysterious figure. The 2 are clearly related, their sprites are unbelievably similar, and if that wasn't confirmation, now they're being pitted against each other. The 2 push against each other for a while before Superstition finally breaks through the original space and stumbles into the second arena. She's blocked by particles throughout, unable to fully reach the carrots. However, the mysterious figure simply stays in the top right corner, bouncing alone and making no effort to escape. While the battle between the whites continues, a brighter fight occurs in the background. This racetrack is much more colorful, and a different treasure lies in the middle, a bright red apple. I should also mention that Mary isn't in this one, so she can't win this one. Woohoo! The horses push to get through the first tunnel, but they mainly seem to be fighting each other, trying to tear down their competitors so they won't win, rather than aiming for the prize themselves. Pink struggles against Doorknob before finally pushing her away and running deep in the tunnels. Resolute and Yellow block her path, beating her repeatedly between them before Pink barely escapes. She's clearly wounded and weakened, but not defeated. She allows the horses to attack each other before finally shooting herself into the last box. She takes the apple and claims her name, Commonly Material Morning. I couldn't exactly understand why there was an apple in the center nor what it could mean, but then my friend Amar shed some heavenly light upon my stupid brain. I see that as her just wanting a sweet treat. She's a picky eater, never liked carrots. She only tried so hard when it was something that is sweet. I really like that perspective because she's just a little picky and wanted an apple, that's all. Like, it would also explain like why she's never won before or even got close, but when it's an apple, like she actually tries. Like, that makes sense, actually. And maybe in this world, it's not all random chance. Maybe they do have motivations and the ability to change their own future. But that begs the question, does motivation always ensure success, or is it simply an assistant? Could that be why Mary wins so often? And could it be why Cyan never has? Maybe this is why White struggled so much to win the fight with Cyan. Maybe White's efforts were to avoid winning, to spare Cyan, but maybe Cyan's motivations didn't exist at all. Believing her life would always be left to random chance, she made no effort to save her future. She simply floated, letting herself lose to those who held ambitions. And that guilt of winning against someone who wasn't trying has finally manifested into the mysterious figure. This creature, grayed out, monstrous, and sheltering in the corner of the map, could be a reflection of Superstition's regrets. It could also reflect what it wishes Superstition had done, the same as Cyan. Giving up, cowering, and hiding in the top right of the map, because at the very least, that would mean she'd still be next to Cyan. This is a fight where Superstition realizes she will never escape Cyan, not as a monster who holds her back, but as a memory she'll never erase. For better or for worse, it's something she needed to see, but she can't let it hold her back. Her love for Cyan isn't a definition of her, and her future is still her own to shape. So finally, in her final pit of her race with the mysterious figure, she takes the carrots at the bottom of the track. Once again, she's a winner. She's then placed in the new track next to Mary. The two are facing 3 winners of the darker challenges: a mysterious figure, garbage bin, and nighttime nightmare. It's unspoken but obvious. Mary and Superstition are competing together against the monsters. And this race becomes messy quickly. Mary and Superstition begin to bicker, unaware of the monsters slowly pushing further into the map. Superstition might view Mary's constant wins as a challenge, stolen chances for Cyan to have won on her own, all robbed by this selfish horse. But Mary persists. She knows her success is not the reason for someone's failure. And though Superstition may not know that yet, she knows at least that pushing Mary further won't solve anything. So finally, the two separate and begin to press into the track to try and win. All 5 are curled up in the bottom right, pushing and fighting to try and get a teammate to push through, but for almost 4 minutes, no one can. Superstition retreats into the top right corner, the same place that the mysterious figure and Cyan would take refuge in. She's probably taking the modern Western movie trope of having a panic attack, struggling to ground herself in the face of all the pressure. But when she spots Mary getting jumped alone in the corner, she realizes that she can't become helpless again. She dives out of the corner, pushing harder than ever before. She gets into the path to make it to the prize, but spots Mary still being pushed and abused. She makes an impulsive decision and rushes to assist Mary. But in doing so, she doesn't notice garbage bin slithering from the back and into the prize pit. The music distorts, the screen melts, and then the credits roll. On the most important race of her life, Mary fails to push through, and the Shadow Beast win. And now we're left with nothing but darkness. It felt empty. Sure, media will often craft an ending that's up for interpretation, but it's hard to imagine one when you know it's negative. And knowing that it ended so suddenly with nothing to guide you was heartbreaking. Kind of unrelated, but I saw this chart that theorizes Mary is actually the Antichrist, so I thought I'd display it because it honestly makes some amazing points, so I think it's worth reading. For 4 days, audiences mourned the defeat. Angry at Mary, devastated for the world of horse race test, we had nothing but fear in our hearts. But then, Blake reemerged. May 3rd, the final horse race. Well, races. Saturday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, a tournament will be held with our cast. 13 races, 1 champion. The line spoken at the beginning of every race is always, place your bets. And I'm not even gonna lie, I bet on every single race for this video. I was gonna have a chart that was gonna count my wins, but now that we're at this point, we're not doing that anymore. And you know why? I won fuck all I never won a single match. Whenever I bet on Mary, she's suddenly nowhere to be found, and the rest of these goofballs would always sell if I believed in them. Maybe I'm bad luck, but I literally only bet on losing horses. The trailer for the tournament doesn't show Cyan, but I'm hoping she appears. I hope she can find the effort in herself to try to overcome whatever struggle she's facing. Maybe she wasn't a good racer, or maybe she had no motivation like the other horses. But maybe, rather than feeling as though she was abandoned, maybe she could try her best to join Superstition and truly make a name for herself. But still, at the end of it all, this is all random. Life is random. We can't decide what it throws at us, or more so in this case, where it throws us. But as Kamali showed us with the apple, there is room to adjust, to truly desire something and fight for it. We can't control the people around us, the decisions being made with our input, the things that are forced to happen. But at the very least, we can control the very little things. The things we say, the things we do. Getting out of bed itself is an accomplishment already. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, going to class. You never truly give up. And when you realize that you're not actually as out of control as you might think of your own life, you realize that the small things, the things that come so naturally, they are you. Maybe Mary knows that already. Maybe Superstition is slowly learning it. And maybe Cyan will finally see it. Or most likely Mary just wins the whole fucking thing again, who knows?